And what we're going to find, John's gospel, or John's epistle here is wonderful because he balances the need for righteousness with a very healthy dose of realism. So righteousness, you need to walk in the light as he is in the light. There's no excusing sin. In fact, you see in verse 1 of chapter 2 another one of these purpose statements. We saw the first one in chapter 1, verse 4. We are writing these things so that your joy may be complete. That's one of the reasons John put pen to paper. All right, I'm writing this because I want our joy to be complete. One of the other reasons, chapter 2, verse 1, I am writing these things so that you may not sin. It says, I don't want you to sin. God doesn't want you to sin. We are never better off for having sinned. Sin is never a light offense. God is never indifferent towards sin. The goal of the Christian life is to walk in the light as he is in the light, to grow in godliness, triumph over sin. So never think, as you sometimes hear, well, we just, God loves to forgive, and we love to sin, and we're just all big failures, and it doesn't really matter, and so what, I just kind of revel in it, and then I get God's grace. That's never how the Bible approaches sin. And if it's how you think of sin, you need to check your own heart, because when you are born again, you develop a holy hatred for sin. And one of the things you so look forward to about heaven, yes, in heaven there will be no more sickness and there will be no more suffering and no more sadness, and also in heaven you will not have your sin. You hate it, and it burdens you. John says, I'm writing because I don't want you to sin. Righteousness. And there's a healthy dose of realism, because you see in verse 1, I'm writing these things to you so that you may not sin, but if anyone does sin, we have an advocate with the Father. Do you understand how both of these things need to be held together to be a mature Christian? If you just say, I am writing so that you do not sin, you're going to end up being miserable, making other people miserable. And if you just say, we have an advocate, as if sin didn't matter, nobody cared how you lived, then you're going to end up an antinomian. You need both of these. Don't sin, okay? As a Christian, walk in the light. But if you do sin, and we already saw from verse 8 and verse 10 that we will sin. You will sin today in thought, word, or deed. And so you need to have both of these. And parents, let's remember with our kids of whatever ages, we're not just saying to them, I am parenting you so that you may not sin. And your kids are thinking, yeah, how's that working out? Okay, kids, don't say that. Don't say that. How's that working out? Yes, we want our kids to obey commandments. Yes, we want them to follow God. Yes, we want them to obey the law. Yes, we want them to listen to us. But kids, you won't always get it right, just like mom and dad don't get it right. And you need to know where you go when you do sin.